So, based on the verdict today, maybe you can share, what are your thoughts, and maybe introduce yourself, before then will be.
My name's Rudy Ramirez. Yolanda Ramirez was my wife. What I thought about the inquest today, I keep getting confused of what the word transparent means, transparency. If that were what they were trying to achieve, they should have invited the second pathologist so that he could answer any questions that they needed. So there was no transparency. It was one-sided, skewed to them, of course. We were told before we came here not to have high expectations because it's one of those things about we investigated ourselves and we found that we did nothing wrong. And no, that's not the case. And we will continue this fight for Yolanda and to make sure that we're a thorn in their side. And we need support. Please call if you can, whatever you need to do to support our family. And I appreciate the news media that comes and allows us to get our point across. And thank you.
Were you maybe surprised by what the juries had decided, or was that something that you sort of maybe were hoping or expected?
My name is Rich Ramirez. I thought it could go a lot of different ways. Obviously, hearing from some of the impacted families how biased the system is, I was prepared for the worst. Their verdict was in the middle. To me, there was only one manner of death, which was at the hands of another, because the police used excessive force on a 72-year-old woman for what, $12 coffee cup, allegedly that she broke for not giving her information. They did not de-escalate. They escalated the situation. I know Aaron Peachman saw that she hit her head on the door frame initially because she screams out in pain. So for him to say that he didn't know that, that's, he's a flat out liar. So it was just a traumatic experience for my mom. You could tell her hitting her head twice. She said she had claustrophobia, the pain that she screamed. Those are all things that increase your blood pressure. And that was as a result of the police encounter. So that, to me, is at the hands of another person. During this whole process, we were submitting questions. Very few got asked. I think she changed a couple. She didn't ask any of the tough questions, obviously. And you could tell, how biased it was. But to have it come out as an accident that changes the official manner of death from natural causes, it is a small win, but it's not what we were, what it should have been.
And what would be your next steps now with this inquest being done? And what's the family's next step after this?
Obviously, waiting. Hopefully, putting some pressure on the DA to make the right decision to charge Aaron Peachman. It was negligence. It was unnecessary in his encounter and treatment of my mom. So, even on the video, you could hear Danielle Tajia say that she was passively resisting. Passively. It wasn't actively. It was passively. So we're waiting. We're going to see if she does the right thing, which I hope she does, and files criminal charges against Aaron Peachman. Other than that, I haven't really thought about it. It's just, staying in, keeping close with the family, and we'll try to figure out an action to do sometime soon, but I haven't even thought that far ahead.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Did you want to say anything?
Yeah, did you both want to?
No, it's like you said, it was a small win changing from accident from natural causes. By my counting, it passed by one, and I don't know how anybody can watch that and not think that it would have happened had she had not been in that situation, because that's not natural. Natural causes is if she was sitting on the couch with my dad, it still would have happened, but that would not have been the case. So it's a small win, but it doesn't change the fact that we still lost her.
And all I want to say is, why did they not just tell her, go home, Mrs. Ramirez, we will take care of this. Don't go, don't come back, please. Go home, okay?
And they didn't tell her she couldn't leave.
It wasn't until they're literally just put handcuffs on her that she couldn't leave.
Yeah, they didn't tell her.
But they mentioned a lot of medical conditions that my mom had, but she managed those. Diabetes, she's been managing that for decades. You know, a lot of Americans, a majority of us, just with our eating, have diabetes, are obese, have high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I have high cholesterol. My mom was managing all of that. So, you know, for them to think it was natural causes, like my sister said, if she were to be sitting on the couch and that were to happen, I would believe it. But watching that video was not natural at all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hema. Thank you.
The family lawyer had to hire somebody to find out what happened to her.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so yeah, maybe tell us about the outcome. Was it, I don't know, something expected, or I mean, basically, what is the, you know, what was your reaction after the, you know, instead of natural causes, it was accident, maybe?
That was one of the things that I thought was probably going to be one of the possibilities if they did change it. Okay. We'd kind of ruled out homicide the way that it's described means you had to have intentionally tried to harm her. We've never claimed that they went there for the purpose of trying to kill Mrs. Ramirez, but only through their negligence did they cause her to be injured. And so that's consistent. Accident is consistent. We're thankful that they were able to see that this wasn't a natural cause. If she hadn't had contact with the police that day, she would have driven home and she wouldn't have had a stroke. Right, and so, you know, that's meaningful. It's legally significant. It changes it from where the situation where a natural cause, there's no kind of liability for that. Person has a heart attack and dies, that just happens. If it's an accident that is caused by somebody else, there's a possibility of liability for the negligence that led up to her death, which we now see a lot more of what that was, the long-term medical neglect, where she was in the car for 20 minutes and, you know, and struggling and nobody's checking on her, won't get her water and things like that. And also very surprised that Officer Peachman acknowledged seeing her strike her head, that came in, because we assumed that they were going to deny that, but he acknowledged seeing that on the video. And so I think that was significant, because it's hard to get admissions from people about things. And I haven't even had to ask him questions, and he's already admitted to one of the significant things at issue. So, you know, better than we expected, I think, you know, for things that typically turn into kind of a nothing sandwich.
And what would be the the next step? Now that this inquest is done, then what would be is there anything that's being done?
So next step is figuring out what the DA is going to do with the information. She can't make a charging decision, and she let us know that at the time because we thought there might be a delay in getting the inquest scheduled, that it would delay her charging decision. And had there been a natural cause finding, you know, makes it more unlikely to have charges. Obviously, we have a second autopsy that has a different result, but now we've sort of knocked out their medical examiner's finding, and that's pretty significant. Despite the fact that he was able to slander the independent person with no recourse, the jury still saw and believed that he got it wrong. So that's a win. That's a win for us in a place where we don't usually get any wins, or tiny wins.
Were you able to keep tabs on how many people voted yes for accident and no for natural cause? Because I was getting a few, but I couldn't get the number.
I had a hard time hearing them.
Yeah,
Somebody
same.
said that there was that it was split with one in our favor. So whatever, I think there was 15, so 8-7 or something like that. But I wasn't close enough when they were doing the polling. I could barely hear the commission officer, much less I've heard a few answers, but not a lot of them.
I got one. Were you surprised at all that the judge let the two women that raised their hands, that one was actually married to a Brentwood police officer at one time, and one said she works for an organization that supports police, fire, and first responders, yet they didn't excuse them or they let them sit?
I wish I was surprised. We've had in federal trials, we've had witnesses say they could not be unbiased, that they worked in like emergency rooms and they worked closely with law enforcement, and they just felt like their personal views would prevent it, and they still let them sit on a jury in a death case. And so not surprised. If it had been her current husband, no. Ex-husband, that kind of creates maybe you guys are good, and maybe she would have been biased in our favor because we don't know what kind of, and so usually, she's not obligated to give up all that kind of, that kind of information. So usually, unless it's a strong, you're related to one of them currently, so that part is, unfortunately, people come to jury duty and get on juries are oftentimes wildly biased from occupations and, first responders. You can't be a firefighter and, all those kind of things where you work closely with people. It makes it really hard to be, just like I wouldn't be on your jury, right? Or your jury, right? It makes it hard when you work with people and have opinions of them and you want to see the good in them. But yeah, that happens a lot because there's so many people who are connected with law enforcement in some way or another. It's almost hard to find a jury in any place of the people that actually show up to jury duty, who don't have law enforcement or law enforcement adjacent ally type relationships.
All right, good. Well, thank you for all your work here today.
Thank you,
Oh yeah, no, I'm just glad it wasn't that damn